Hey everybody, hope all is well. Happy to be back with another 8 financial things you should accomplish in this week. Your 40s. Your 40s are a pivotal year, but they're very similar to your 30s. We're just trying to get through life. And so what we want to do is focus on one thing at a time. Okay? If you haven't viewed the 30s, go back and view those. In your 40s, we expand on that. Debt, we want to do a check-in. Make sure everything's paid off except mortgages, and then focus in on those mortgages and make sure those are going to be paid off by your 60s. Okay? We want to be debt-free when we head into retirement. The next part of this is understanding our career and where we're at. It's kind of our last chance to pivot and uproot our lives here. So reassess, do we want to go self-employed? Are we self-employed and it's not working? We want to reassess where we're at in our career. And if we're going to take a chance, this is the time we do it. Okay? This is where we add or subtract side hustles like Uber driving or little hobbies that we've turned into little money makers. We ask for raises, promotions, and sometimes, yes, we even have to pivot into new careers. Next part is following the budget. Remember your fundamentals. We've got to have a budget. We got to know how much we're spending and how much we're making. The key is the longer you can spend less than you make, the more you're going to have in retirement. Live within your means. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Automate savings. Save to spend. Remember, we're not buying a car on credit. We're not buying an air conditioner on credit. We're saving knowing we have to spend that money in the future and buy cars based on paying cash instead of financing. And always have those emergency funds ready in case we run into a hiccup in the road and don't have our job for a month or two. Savings investing, well, 10 to 15% should be going to retirement. That's before you pay yourself, right? Don't take your paycheck without contributing to that 401k or some form of a 401k. If you're self-employed, there's plenty of other options out there. Education, vacation, car, these are all things we know we're going to be spending in the future. We're adults now in our 40s. We take vacations. So save for them so that way we don't have to worry about credit card debt and things like that. Typically still no advisor needed. Most people's situations don't call for advisors in their 40s. Again, the whole idea is to use low-cost index funds. So that helps you stay diversified and stay away from the hot stock tips. Advisory world is really for that transitioning into retirement. Don't spend the fees for 30, 40 years of your life when all they're going to do is just pick some mutual funds for you. Number 5, real estate. Really taking stock in what you got going on here, okay? One of the things that I've always wished I did was kept every house I ever bought. The first house I bought, if I still owned it, it'd be a great rental right now. So in your 20s, I said, buy your first home. In your 30s, I said, upgrade that home, keep the first home as a rental. And now in your 40s, it's time to start looking at other things. Depends on family life, depends on the money that you make. Do you have room for a second home? Do you have room for another rental? Do you need to upgrade what you're living in now because you've got a bigger family? Okay. Taxes. You've done your own tax return yet? You're in your 40s. You should at least have done your tax return once in your life. Most of us that just made a W-2 paycheck, that's the easiest time to do a tax return. If you're self-employed, look, you should have a team of CPAs these days. But understand the basics of taxation. The first part is, what can you itemize? Okay, well, it's mortgage interest, charitable contributions, medical, and state and local taxes. Then you got to understand that standard deduction. This is an either or choice. Either you're going to itemize or you're going to take the standard deduction. We're talking almost $13,000 for a single person, married over $25,000, almost $26,000. If you're over 65 or blind, you get an additional boost to your standard deduction. And then the other part is understanding our tax brackets. Our tax brackets may be complex to some people, but they're really not meant to be. After You collect all your income, you subtract your standard deduction typically, and then whatever's left over is what we're going to put to this chart. This is your taxable income. The first 10,000 or 20,000, married or individual, depending on which way you are, is taxed at 10%. Then the next bucket is 12%, then 22, 24, 32, so forth and so on, okay? We only fill one bucket at a time. If we have an extra dollar into the next bucket, we don't pay taxation all at the highest bucket. We pay 10, then we pay 12, then we pay 22 on whatever money is in that bucket, okay? Pension income. Okay, we have to recognize that it takes a good 20 years to qualify for a decent pension, okay? And these pensions can be worth millions of dollars. Believe it or not, it may not seem like it's worth that much. I've seen people with $400 or $500 pensions. There's still nothing wrong with those, but we want meaningful pensions, and they've all but disappeared out there. So if you have one, figure out how to maximize it. No job hopping. Learn how many years you have to put in to get the multipliers, get the bigger pensions, okay? If you don't have one, 40s, it's kind of the last chance. If you're going to consider a career that's going to pay you a pension in retirement, it's the time to make that change, okay? Because again, you need the time in to make that pension worthwhile. From an estate planning tax standpoint, number 8, okay? It's time to actually review all your accounts. Make sure you have beneficiaries on every account and joint ownership on the accounts if you're married. In your 30s, we said at least put together some emergency paperwork. You should have power of attorneys and a living will out there, last will and testament out there. There's got to be some basic documents in your 30s. In your 40s, you got to review the accounts. That's what we do this time. Okay, so hopefully that kind of gives you some things to think about, some guidelines in your 40s. These are all kind of things I wish I was organized enough to do or had some concise list of things I should focus on. So review the 30s. If you haven't done all the 30s yet, then get into your 40s. All right. Thank you, everybody. We hope to see you soon. Give us a call if we can help in any way. Share the videos with your kids, grandkids, anybody that can this can help out with. Appreciate it. See you soon.